Hello, here we go. I'm a minute early, so I'm just going to come on and chat to you girls who are already here. I shouldn't say girls, could be guys too, right? But everyone who's here, I just thought I'd have a minute of chatting before I actually officially am live, because it's 2 o'clock that I'm meant to be going live. Oh, cool. There is some Janine, that's really great that you were able to watch that global stamping video hop. That's something I do usually monthly. I'm not sure what's going to happen next month when I'm away, but normally I go live with that one once a month. It's a bit of fun, and we do a different technique or different theme every month. I'm glad that you learned something new. That's awesome. How are we all today? We are now officially live. It's 2 o'clock. How exciting. And I hope that that you guys have had a fantastic start to your weekends. It's Saturday afternoon here. I'm on the east coast of Australia. For those of you who haven't come across me before, my name's Linda Dolke and I'm a demonstrator with Stampin' Up. So we're going to be having some crafty fun today. And that's what we do here every month for CraftAlong. You guys are welcome to craft with me if you wish, or you can watch and maybe do it maybe at a later stage. I know some people like to who likes to just watch and who likes to actually craft along. I'd love to hear if you want to put that in the comments. I'd be really, really grateful, because it helps me know how many people are actually following along with the tutorial. Or do you come back and watch it a second time and make it on the second watch? I don't know. What do people do? Oh, nice to see you, Helen. Nice to see everybody here. So we have got lots and lots of people here today. Sunny already said hi to you. Cherie, I didn't see you last night. Did I miss you? I'm so sorry if I did. For those who don't know, I go live every Friday night, every Sunday night, and then once a month I go live for the craft along session. It's usually a Saturday afternoon, not always, because sometimes there might be other things going on that I can't shift, but I try and do it on a Saturday afternoon. I think a couple of months ago we did it on a Wednesday afternoon, and that seemed to work okay as well. So it really depends on what's going on. Next month is a bit different. Next month is actually a short month for me, because I'm off on the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip to Norway on we leave on the 20th of May. So that is very exciting, because it's the first time we've been able to go for 4 years, and it's very sad when you're on a trip and you can't go. Ask me how I know, because that's what's been going on the last few years. The last trip we actually went on was 2019, and 20, 21, 22 were all cancelled for us here in Australia. And then this year, we think we're actually going to go. So it's only a few weeks away. But that does mean that my craft along, which I normally hold at the end of the month, has to be brought forward next month. So next month I'm going to be doing craft along on the 13th of May, Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m, the 13th of May. That's a week before we leave. So the whole idea is that I'm going to bring it forward, and instead of doing a technique or a style of card, next month I'm actually going to be doing a new suite out of the new catalogue, because our new catalogue goes live on the 2nd of May. So on the 13th, I'm going to go live with a whole new suite, and that suite that I'm going to be using is called Fresh as a Daisy. So if you've been looking at that suite and you're not real sure if you want it or you don't, maybe it's a great chance for you to watch it, and then you can make up your own mind, because that will give you some great ideas. But also the suite is really, really beautiful. I have done a couple of cards with it already. Got one just over there, which I might show you if anyone wants to see it. But it's not actually one of next month's projects. I haven't designed those yet. So I've got a couple of weeks. Well, actually, I've got a week, because I've got to have it in the mail. For everyone who's receiving the supply pack, I've got to have it in the mail usually 5 days or 7 days before. So that keeps me kind of busy. All right. So next month's going to be a little bit of a funny one. May the 12th, it will be May 12th over there, Janine. Correct. Because you're in the US. Oh, you're going on a dig. That's cool. A little bit of archaeology going on over there. It's lovely to see everybody, and I'm so sorry if you've been saying hello or just talking to me and I'm not responding. We have so many people, I just can't respond to everybody. But I mean, that's a good problem to have, right? It's fantastic. So I'm just seeing what people answered. Helen said she just watches. Donna says she watches and crafts later. Margaret says she likes to craft, but not today because she hasn't got the things together. I did put a list of all the supplies that you would need for today up on my blog. I usually have that at least a week before CraftAlong, so you've got time to get your bits and pieces together. Margaret Gordon says she just watches. Julie says watch and make later. I did see your comment, Julie, about your name being a little different to what I'm used to. And Sunny says she likes to watch too. So there you go, depending on what it is. Well, in a second, I'll swing the camera around and you can have a look at my desk and then you're going to see what it is. I really like this card we're doing today. It is in blue and white, which is probably one of my favorite color pairings in the whole wide world. I really, really love blue and white together. And I'm so sorry. Facebook is stuttery. Oh, I'm sorry about that, Anne. Yeah, it could be the weather. Who knows? First time here, Joy. That's lovely. Lovely to have you. Oh, okay. So you've been watching a while, but you haven't commented before. Well, welcome. And it's lovely to have you commenting. Oh, that's interesting, Janine. You know, I think I didn't know that. So paleontology is your dinosaur stuff and archaeology is people. Thank you for the distinction. I did not know. I wonder, is that a common error or is it just something that I should have known? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to swing it over to the desk. We're going to bring in my camera and my light so that we can all see what's going on. And let me see if I've got this straight. I think I do. Make sure my desk is looking as it should. I've got cords and cables often around the place, so I'm going to try and make it that the cable does not fall down. Okay, let's switch over. Oh, that's better. Oh, and I just dropped a bunch of stuff on the floor. That's okay. So here's our card. This is the card we're doing today. Now, some of you will have received this supply pack in the mail from me. If you do have your supplies and you're crafting along, I'm going to try and go at a pace that works for everybody. This card is made with an embossing folder technique called the wood grain embossing folder technique. I spotted this as a technique. A demonstrator friend here in Australia, she's no longer a demonstrator, but she was at the time that she did this, and she was doing kind of a wood grain effect with inks. But the addition of an embossing folder actually makes it really amazing, I think. And I know that there's a few techniques shown on YouTube that show a similar thing to this. But today we're going to be using a new embossing folder. So this is one coming in our upcoming catalogue, and it is the Countryside Inn embossing folder. I'll put it on a dark background so you can see it better. Give me a second. I'll just grab a mat because then you might actually be able to see the design better. It always is easier to see on a darker background. Can you see that okay? All right, so it's a really nice folder. It's got a kind of a, I would call this a medium solid design. And by that, I mean, it's not super, super wide. It's fine, but it's not super fine either. So it lends itself to a couple of techniques. And I'm going to show you, there's going to be a couple of cards made with this, including the one we're doing today, a couple of cards made with this in this month's series, because the cards for the series are not just the card we make live. I've also got another bundle of cards that have alternate, a tutorial that I've made. Now, normally I try and have the tutorials all ready to go by the time I go live. Today, I'm not quite there. I'm working on the 4th tutorial at the moment, so I'm not too far away, but I should have those all completed and up by tomorrow. If you are wanting to purchase the tutorials, then you can do that. It's from memory, $15. And though, which is around about $10 in the US, thereabouts. So it's actually a really good deal if you're overseas. But yeah, $15 Australian, and you can pay by PayPal, and you will receive all the tutorials in this series. And I'll show you all the cards that I'm talking about before we finish this video today. We're going to concentrate on this one first. But this is the embossing folder that we're making. So I want to show you first of all what is in your supply pack for those of you who have the supplies. And if you don't, It's easy enough to, I did put a supply list on my blog, like I said. I'm using basic white, thick cardstock for my card base. So I'm going to go ahead and fold that in half. This is half a sheet of A4 paper. And then I'm going to fold it in half again. I use a bone folder on my fold there to make sure it sits nice and flat and it's ready to go. So I'm just going to pop that to the back of my desk so it's ready to go for later. Then I've got a piece of Night of Navy. I'll give the measurements in this video. For the alternate cards, I don't give the measurements here, but they will be in the PDF document that comes with those. This is 10 centimeters wide by 14.3 long. Okay, now if you're in the US, the imperial measurements will be also in the PDF for all the different cards. I'm just going to give you, though, if the card base size for imperial, for those who don't know, is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, and then that gets folded in half. Okay, then the piece that sits on top of that is, from memory, 4 inches by 5.25. Okay, and that's this same piece, but for the US letter. The problem is that it's not a direct translation between sizing. The problem is actually that US paper is a different size to A4 paper, which is what we use in Australia and New Zealand and also in Europe. So A4, I believe Canada, North America, and the US use the letter size cardstock, and that is the different size. So it's actually quite complicated to work out. You can't just translate from one to the other because it's different size paper. So I hope that makes sense. They're my favorite colors too, Lani. Now, if I miss your comments as I go through, I will at the end go back through all the comments and make sure I haven't missed anybody. If you have a question, do ask it. I'm more than happy to try and answer them if I can. All right. Now, also in your packs is this piece that I have already embossed for you with the Countryside in embossing folder. Okay, this is the one we're talking about, and hopefully you can see it's a lovely design. Can you see that there? Really pretty. Now, also in here, and we're going to talk about these two things together, this is also part of the suite. Some of you will have this design and some of you will have a different stripe design, okay, because to cover all the pieces I had to send out, I used a couple of different pieces of the paper. And what I've got left of the paper, this is the beautiful Countryside in paper. Love, love, love it. All these beautiful blues. Isn't it gorgeous? So you've got different designs. See, there's little flowers on that one. Can you see the little tiny flowers? Aren't they cute? And then this. So this is in the new catalogue and it's coming your way on the 2nd. You know that's only Tuesday, right? I'm astounded how quickly it's come around. And sometimes it feels like it takes forever. I like this one with the trees too. And on the back of that one, we have some little flowers or little buds. Can you see those? And they're super cute. Really, really like them. I don't measure. You said great job remembering all those measurements. I don't. I have these. I have little templates that I've made to remind me what size the US paper is. That's my trick. It's not memory. So I keep them close by my desk. So anytime I need to translate, I've got them there. All right. These ones I really like because it's got little birdies on it. See all the little birdies? Aren't they cute? Super like those. Love them. Then we've got navy stripes on the back of that one. Well, it's good to know it's a common error and not just me, Janine. Oh, wow. The Bureau of Land Management asked you about it? That's cool. Ah, right. I see. That's interesting. Here we have our rabbits, bunnies. This would be good Easter paper. It's a bit late now this year, but I might have to remember that for next year. It'd be great Easter paper. And then stripes on the back of that one. And some of you, I think, have got these stripes in your packs. Then we've got just flowers on this one with a white background and beautiful navy, little kind of buds, flowers on the back of that one. I haven't met anyone yet who doesn't like this paper. I think it's going to be super popular. And you can see I haven't got a full pack because I've already used quite a bit. I've used a lot of the stripy stuff because I used it for this. So I don't have a lot left. All right, so then there's this. There's also a piece of vellum because, you know, guys, I have to put vellum in. You wouldn't know who I was if I didn't put vellum in the packs, right? So this one is going to fit inside this one when we get to it. All right. And then I've also got a banner. This is cut with one of the banners from the Stylish Shapes dies, which are one of my favorite dies. I love the stitching around the edges. They're beautiful. And I've also put in here some of this beautiful boho blue textured ribbon. Okay, this is optional. You don't have to use ribbon on this card. You can see where I put it here. Because it's thicker ribbon, it ties a larger bow. You can't tie a really small bow with this. So if you think that that ribbon is too big for your project, you may prefer to use, for example, we have seam binding white ribbon. That is outgoing. Here in Australia, it has sold out. I'm not sure if it's sold out in other markets, but it has here. But you may find another piece of ribbon that's something smaller, or even some silver twine or something like that would be really nice in place of that, because I think if this ribbon was any wider, there's no way I would have used it on the card. It would have been too thick. All right. Oh, thanks. I'll take that title, Leslie. Thank you very much. I mean, that's a high compliment. She called me the Vellum Queen. I'll take it. All right. And the last thing that's in your packet, don't lose them, is 3 little iridescent rhinestones. Okay, and we're going to add those. Now, on my original card here, I didn't use the iridescent rhinestones. Oh, look, and a bonus cat hair. I wonder where that came from. And it's not an orange one, so it's from my my black and white cat Merlot. Crumpet is the little orange one, and frequently I find orange hairs on all kinds of projects, but Merlot left behind a black hair there. So I've got 3 little gems here on this one, and they are the iridescent pastel gems from the mini catalog, which I am so happy to say are going into our new big catalog, our new annual catalog. So yeah, I think that this is a beautiful card, and I want to show you how I did it. All right, I want you, if you have the piece that has already been embossed, or if you are embossing, this piece, by the way, fits inside the Night of Navy piece that I gave you the measurements before. If you're in the US, you're going to make it this white piece before you emboss it. You're going to make it 1/4 of an inch less wide and 1/4 of an inch less long than the piece of navy, the navy panel. And in Australia, it's going to be 1/2 centimeter smaller on each side. So this is 10 by 14.3. The white is 9.5 by 13.8. So 1/2 centimeter smaller on each side to make the smaller piece that will fit inside. Okay. All right. So let's play with this. This is what we're going to do next. On one side, if you hold this up and feel it, you can see, let's use this raised piece here in the middle because it's probably the easiest thing to talk about. This raised flower here, I'm actually going to be working on the reverse side of this, okay? Because what I want to do is I want to have you might be able to see here, when we ink up this embossed piece, and we are actually going to apply our ink straight to the piece of paper that's already embossed, I want to actually have the color on the background leaving the image white. So that means I want the background to be raised, not the actual image. So if I turn this over, the pieces go in. If you have a look on this side, it's out. So I can see, I hope that makes sense. This, if you can see this here, this is raised, okay? But if I turn it over to the back, it's like debossed, not embossed. It's actually it's recessed into the paper, and that's the side I want to work on, okay? So I'm also going to take my trimmer, or if you have a simply scored scoring tool or some other kind of scoring tool, you might want to use that, but we're going to be scoring this paper. Now on this one here, I went scored and I have it landscape. Today I'm going to do my scoring so it goes across, okay? So I'm going to be scoring from this end, but if you wanted to, you could have your score lines going across this way. And I think these ones, I made them roughly, yeah, they're 3/4 of an inch apart. This last one's a tiny bit more, but that no one would even notice it. If I hadn't said that, you wouldn't have picked that up, right? So these are all 3/4 of an inch apart. If I'm going to do it on this piece here, 10 centimeters, well, it's just a little bit less because it's 9.5, but I'm going to go roughly an inch apart each. So you could go, let me think. Yeah, I'm going to do an inch, all right? But up to you. You can have, you want them closer together, you could have them closer together. And I'm going to, with that deboss side facing up, I'm going to score at the 1 inch mark. Can you see now I have a score line that's going straight down here through the middle. I know it's very easy to see. There you go, you can see it there. All right, then I'm going to move. All right, so that was at the 1 inch mark. I'm actually going to turn this around. So 1 inch there, then 2. Make sure you're using your scoring blade and not your cutting blade, right? And then 3. So I've got 3 score lines. If I'm doing it this lengthways, I'm doing them in inch apart. Okay, can you see that I've got my score lines there? And they are actually going to show up when we do our inking. All right. Now, today I'm inking up in Misty Moonlight. Now, some of you might be thinking, hang on a second, but Misty Moonlight's a new color. We don't have that yet. I actually got my new Misty Moonlight ink pad. If you don't have Misty Moonlight, then you can pick a different color. You can go with Night of Navy. Night of Navy will also give you a great result, just a little bit darker, okay? This is my old Misty Moonlight ink pad, and the reason I know it's old is, can you see the bit of pink around the edges? It was sitting in a bag with Magenta Madness, which is another color from the same in color year, and I had them still stashed away, and I hadn't got around to selling them, but that's why it's got pink on it, because it was in the same bag as the Magenta Madness, which actually had leaked a little bit in the bag. And then I've got my new one, which came as part of my new core color set. But when it comes to doing this technique, I have to tell you that a slightly less juicy pad is actually better. So if you only have the new Misty Moonlight and you want to get more of this wood grain effect on your card, I would pick a slightly drier ink pad, not a dry ink pad, but one that's not as juicy and wet as a brand new one. So that might be your Night of Navy, because we've had that one for forever and ever. So you might find that your Night of Navy, it should be less juicy unless it's brand new than your Misty Moonlight. I'm actually going to use an old Misty Moonlight one because it's not as juicy as my brand new one. It's still pretty good though. It's still got plenty on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it. You've got your finger holder bits here. I'm going to hold that nice and firm. I'm actually going to put a silicone mat. Let me see if I have a silicone mat. I've got my grungy. I have a silicone mat, and it's well loved. So people keep saying, you should get a new one. I do have a new one, but I keep coming back to this one for some reason. I don't know why. All right, so I'm going to put this on my silicone mat. Actually, I'm going to put it this way. And then I'm going to lay this down. I'm going to show you. It's at an angle. Okay, and I'm going to actually put it down and very lightly drag it down in the same direction as my score lines. All right, now can you see why it's better if you don't want to have super dark? Okay, it's better to have an ink pad that is slightly drier. And also by doing this very softly, you don't put as much ink on either. Okay, now when I did this one, because my score lines were coming down this way, I went across this way, across my card, okay? But because my score lines are lengthways today, I'm coming down that way. So whichever way you do your score lines, that's the way you should do your inking. I'm going to start at the other end, and very, very lightly, once again, I'm going to drag it over. All right? And I took my time doing that. Now, up to you how dark you want to do this. If I decide that's not dark enough, for example, if I think, oh, it's a bit light up here, I can hit it again, and now it's going to be a little darker. All right. If you want it to be really, really solid, then you would go over it a number of times. However, I like the idea of going a little bit lighter. I think it gives you some nice variation in color. I've got a little bit up here I would like a little darker. And I'm actually really happy with that. Now, can you see why it's called the wood grain effect? Okay, it does give you that wood grain look. The fact that we're doing it in blue means it looks a little bit less like wood grain because I don't know of any blue wood unless we're painting it. But let me show you. When I was getting ready to do this card, I experimented with a few. This is one I did with the ferns, and I did this with, I think that's soft suede from memory. And so soft suede is now retired, but we also have the new pecan pie color, which is quite similar, or you could use crumb cake. So you could do other ones, but it definitely looks more like wood grain in the browner color. okay? But I really like it in the blue. Do you like it? Do you like it in the blue? Look how nice this is. It's such a great effect almost immediately. Just beautiful. And then you could decorate this however you want. Now, what we're going to do today, of course, is to finish off this card by using this layout. But you could go a different way. If you want your card to be portrait instead of landscape, we can rearrange these a little bit. But I'm going to do this one. Move that out of the way. I'm going to do this one. And I'm going to be having it so it goes across ways. And that's going to be my wood grain effect going across. Yeah, if your score lines went both ways, it could have been like tiles, right? So you can have a lot of fun with this. This is a really, I'd recommend trying it in different colors. Try with different embossing folders, but the score lines give you that kind of idea that it's meant to be wood grain, and that's really, really cool. But Margaret, that's a great idea about trying to get a tiled effect, although we do actually have a tiling technique, which is not made with embossing folders, but you could do that. You've got a very good idea there. All right, so that's the piece that I'm starting with. So what are we thinking? Do we like this? And I just need to decide which way I want to have it going. If you want more of the dark showing, because you can see this is going, so the arrangement of this is going to be like here, here, and here. This has got a bit of more darker underneath, or if I do it the other way, you can kind of make it up as you go. It really doesn't make a lot of difference. It's still going to be beautiful no matter which way you do it. All right. Okay, the stamp that I've used for this says life is better when you're crafting, because it is, right? And this is from a new set. This is a new set coming your way on the 2nd of May, which I absolutely love. If anyone was watching my Friday night video last night, I used this card last night, this set last night, and we used, actually, where is that card? Because I was really, really happy with the card that I made last night. Is it still on my desk, or have I moved it? Give me 1 second. Here it is. So we did something with a retiring set, and then this was my card that we made with the new set. How cute are the scissors? Oh my goodness. I loved making this, and I used that same sentiment, life is better when you're crafting, right? And look at the trimmer. Now, after the video, one of the, I forget who it was, and I'm so sorry, it might have been Colleen, but it was somebody who was commenting who said, did you realize that there's also a trimmer in the set, like a blade? And I didn't realize it's actually attached to the top of the trimmer. And when you cut out the trimmer, which I've got, you can see I've put some paper in my trimmer, so it's really, really cute. But it actually cuts out the blade as well, and I had totally missed that. So I'm thinking I might come back and cut the blade out and add the blade to my card, because that was super cute. Did anyone else spot that? Such a cool idea. Yeah, it's such a cool thing, right? So, all right, so this is the one I want to use now that says life is better when you're crafting. So let's grab that out. These videos, for anyone who's wondering, normally go around an hour or just under an hour. And I think, gosh, I think nearly all of them have been right on that hour mark or slightly less. So pretty pleased I've been able to keep them down, because sometimes I don't have my Friday or Sunday night ones under an hour. Whoops. All right, I'm just going to pop this here. It says life is better when you're crafting. There we go. Fits rather nicely on the banner, doesn't it? All right, so that's ready to go. Let's put these two pieces together. So once you've done this beautiful background, the card's really easy to put together. And the background, you don't want to do too much to the card, because you want the background to be the feature of the card, right? The background is really where it's at. So all the other things that, oh, and something I wanted to show you that maybe you may not have realized. I did show this on another of my live videos. If you don't watch the live, if you don't actually subscribe to my channel, do that, okay? Because you'll see when I go live on a Friday or a Sunday night, and we learn lots and lots of tips and new ideas and show you how to do all kinds of things. And I'm very often I'm creating live with an idea that, you know, I'm just thinking, making it up as I go, which is what happened last night. Now I'm just trying to find the piece of paper. Oh my goodness, did it fall on the floor? It did fall on the floor. This piece of paper, this is why when you buy this paper, you might also want to consider the embossing folder, okay? This piece of paper, which is one of the paper pieces, it's actually the back of the stripes that we've used here, all right? See this design? That should look familiar to you because here is the design here on the embossing folder. It's actually the same, and you can actually put, let me see if I can do it. You can actually put your folder inside. I find it the easiest way to line it up is to make the dots line up. And if you line up the dots, that is actually going to emboss your design so that you end up with a card that has this design also embossed. So it actually raises the embossed design on the DSP. So if you love this embossing folder or if you love the paper, get them together because you can actually work those two together and it's really stunning. I did a card with that a couple of weeks ago on one of my live videos, and once again, that was one I was really happy with. So I think if you love these, you're going to love the two together. All right, I'm going to put this square, the stripy square, in the middle of my vellum. So I'm going to put one dimensional in each corner. It does look a bit like old wallpaper, doesn't it? It really does. I've thought that too. All right, so this piece is going to go right here. This piece is going to end up here. Now, because there's a dimensional between here and between the vellum and the stripy piece, we're also going to want to have a dimensional out here to hold this piece up to the same level. So I'm going to put this down. You could use dimensionals behind this bottom layer as well if you wanted to, but I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to put down a little bit of Tombow. It's just going to pop that straight. And I'm putting it so that it has around about the same amount here, here, and here. Actually, it's a little higher at the bottom, but that doesn't matter. You can arrange it wherever you like, really. It's your card. Right, so then this piece is going to go right on here, and I'll need a dimensional over here to hold that piece up. So let's take that off. And then I'm going to put some Tombow on this end. And I'm going to have that. And it's really easy to keep everything straight because you kind of just follow the score lines. So it's a card that encourages you to keep it straight. You could just leave it like that if you wanted to, but if you wanted to use the ribbon that I've given you, I'll just tie a ribbon, tie a bow with this. Like I said, if you think it's too thick, then maybe you would want to use some thinner ribbon or some twine. Now I like my bow not to be too big, so I'm just going to pull my loops. So I'm making this a little smaller than it was on the original card. And then I'm going to attach it to my card with glue dots. Thank you, Rose. Appreciate that. All right, so let's pop that on there. You can see what I mean, that the ribbon is a little thick for bow tying, but I think we're getting away with that on this card. But yeah, if it was any thicker, I wouldn't. All right, so this bow is a little smaller than the other one. I think it actually looks better. And then the last thing is my embellishments, and I've got these little iridescent rhinestones that I've put into your bags, but if you want to, you can of course use actually I'm going to have the big one down the bottom here and then the smaller ones up here. You can use the pastel gems, they look really nice as well. And of course we now need to put it on our card base, so let's turn that over. And then once I'm done with this, I'm going to show you all the other cards that are going to be in the tutorials. So I can't direct you to go to my blog straight after this because I don't expect these to be up before tomorrow. However, you can go and check there if you like, and I'll give you the blog address. You can also go shopping there if you are in Australia and you would like to buy any of the items you've seen me using today. If they're new items, such as the embossing folder or the gorgeous paper or that crafting set, you won't be able to get them until the 2nd of May. But there's lots of other fantastic bargains in there at the moment in the store. I'm glad you like them. And let's just put up the address on the screen. So you'll see it there, lhiggins.blogspot.com. Okay, that's my blog. You can go in there and do 2 things that are really important. You can go shopping by hitting the Shop Now button. If you're in Australia, you can shop with me if you don't already have a demonstrator. If you have a demonstrator, run off and please talk to them because you want to obviously shop with whoever you feel most connected to. That's what I think is important. Then the other thing that you can do on my blog is you can sign up for my newsletter. Now, this is really important this time. If you want to know when I have the tutorials ready, I'm expecting to have a newsletter out on Monday, and I'm expecting that all the links and everything will be in there on Monday that you can go and have a look. Okay. If you bought the tutorial, if you shopped with me last month, in the month of March, where are we? We're in April. So if you shopped with me in March and spent $60 or more, then you will automatically receive these tutorials. The one that I've done right now, everyone gets to watch, but all the alternate projects for the cards I'm about to show you, you'll get those as well. If you're in my team, you will also get those. You do not need to buy them. You can just get them because you're already a part of our group. If, however, you would like to purchase them, they are $15 in Australia to get all the additional tutorials plus the PDF measurements. Okay, all the measurements in both imperial and in metric. So let me go through what the extra cards are that you're going to see. All right, move this one to one side. Now this is the first. This one is I think I did a couple of different versions of this. All right, so this is with the 3D fern embossing folder. This one is the same card, but you might see it slightly different. This one, the leaves are green on a white background, and this one, the leaves are white on a green background. Okay, and I show you how to get this different effect. And I quite like how that turned out. This color, if you're wondering, is Lost Lagoon. If you loved sweet, what is it? Soft succulent, you're going to love Lost Lagoon. Okay, so that's going to be, this is the first card in the alternative designs. All right, so if you're in the team, and I can see a few people here who are in the team, you're going to get this automatically. Okay. Same. This is not one of the cards. Obviously, this is just another sample where I did crumb cake on white, and that looked really nice as well. So I did a few different ones to show you. Then this one is the next one. This is inlaid embossing. Well, that's what I call it. I'm not sure what the right name really is, but that's what I've always called it. There's a couple of samples here to show you different things you can do with it. It's a really lovely technique, and I think that this is a really nice one, and the instructions are all in the PDF and in the extra videos. Then we've got this one. This is a couple of different versions. Once again, you can see this one's a much shinier version, and this is more of a grungier version. Yesterday I liked this one better. Today, I don't know, maybe I like this one better. I like them both. I like the grungy look. And there's instructions on how to do this. This is once again with your embossing folders, and for this one I use the timeless type embossing folder. All right, and my personal favorite is this one. All right, I love this card. I think it turned out, this is watercoloring with your embossing folders, and I really like how this turned out. I just think it's beautiful. I think this one, I like them both, but I like this one better. Who can guess what the colors are that I used here? Would you like to have a guess? You like the firm ones? Well, maybe I'll have some tips for you, Janine, that might help you know how you could make it more successful. Possibly. So can anyone guess what these colors in here are? They're actually both of them the same colors, except I used more of one of the colors in this one, and it gave us a slightly different effect. So the thing about this particular technique, and quite a few of the techniques, is that every time you do them, they turn out different. It's a different result. And actually I love techniques where you get a different result. It's like a surprise because you just don't know how it's going to turn out, and that makes it a ton of fun. So I don't know if that appeals to anybody, but this is something I love to do. No one's had a guess yet. What colors? I'll tell you, I've used 4 colors. Okay. Everyone's gone quiet. We don't know. We don't know what the colors are. I really like the color pairing. A face in the darker one. Or up here. Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but you're right. You're distracted by faces and abstract ideas. I just need to know what colors I used. Let me get the colors for you, and we'll put them together so you can see them all. Yes, there is. Leslie, no, neither of those. Boho Blue is correct, Donna. There's in there. Lost Lagoon is correct, Lorraine. Oh, you're finishing the card, Cherie. All right, I'm slowing down. Don't you worry. I'm not. Do you need my help with anything? Are you up to something that you need any help or advice on? Tell me. Boho Blue and Wild Wheat. Very good, Sylvia. You are correct. I'm just looking, and Julie, you're correct with Parody Peacock and Lost Lagoon, but not Lemon Lime Twist. Misty Moonlight, no, Judy, that's not correct. Actually, none of those colours. Lolly and Peacock, no. Cherie, not Lolly, but yes, Peacock. All right, so no one's actually got all of them, but we've got, I think all of them have been mentioned, just nobody's mentioned all 4. So let's show you what colours. This is Boho Blue. Then we have Pretty Peacock. We have Lost Lagoon. And we have Wild Wheat. They're my 4 colours. It's interesting, Cheryl, that you say that. I've had a few people say, oh, don't like Wild Wheat, don't like it. But really, how good does it look in here? It looks fantastic. And I think that is, whenever you find a color that you're less keen on, I think what is important is thinking, okay, what can I pair this color with that's going to make it shine? What color pairings can I put this with that is going to make the most of this color? And I think, so these are the colors. This is them. All right. We've got them now. We know what they are. Are you good, Cherie? That's good. Night of Navy is just fine. Night of Navy, I think, is, do you know what? Night of Navy, I'm surprised. I'll give you my honest opinion here. I'm surprised they brought Misty Moonlight back, because to me, if I stamp off Night of Navy, guess what color I get? I get Misty Moonlight. So Night of Navy and Misty Moonlight are in the same color family. I'm going to get the non-pink edge one. Okay, they're in the same, tonally, they're the same color. Just that this is a lighter version of that. Okay, so if I was to, let's test the theory. Let's do it. It is a nice combination, and it does look more yellow with watercolor. Yep, and it's got a lot of green undertone. That's why it works well with these other colors. That is why Wild Wheat works so well with these. All right, so let's I'm just going to stamp here on my, and I might as well use something I've already got out. Let's go with these little flowers. I like the little flowers in this Crafting With You set. I think they're really cute. All right, and I'm going to stamp. This is my Night of Navy. All right, that's full strength Night of Navy. And then I'm going to stamp it again without re-inking, and it's lighter, isn't it? Right, so let's do Misty Moonlight. Now, this is a brand new pad, so it's actually really inky. I don't know if you can see. This may not give me the best result, actually. Look at that, because it's so new. So guess what we need to do with this? We need to do, and some of you saw me do this last night with, what color did we do it with? Was it Moody Mauve? I think it might have been. I can't remember what color we did it with, but I know you need to give your new ink pads a massage. Did you know that? All right, so this is, oh, thank you for telling me that the banner's still up. Thank you. I'll hide that. I always forget about that, but thank you. I need you guys to help me. All right, so here's what we do. Okay, we get our spoon. I keep a regular spoon out of the kitchen cupboard, kitchen drawer, and I'm just going to massage this, okay? And I showed last night the difference between massaging, you know, first of all we did it and then we massaged the ink pad and then we stamped again, and the difference was amazing. Actually, it wasn't that, it was one of the greens. It was pretty peacock. I'm glad that you can give that little bit of leeway that it looks good in watercolor, Cheryl. I agree, it does. And so I'm always looking for ways to enhance the way things are. If there's a color I'm less keen on, how can I use it to make it amazing? And what other color combinations does it look good with? Or maybe there's a technique that makes the most of it. Like you said, watercolor works for wild wheat. All right, so I've given this a really good massage now. You can see there's some ink now on my spoon that I'll need to remove with some so this is okay, so this is the one I just stamped. Let's stamp it again. Much better. Can you see the detail? So when I did this last night, we did Pretty Peacock, and we had stamped this one here, and it was a bit blobby because it's such a new ink pad. I mean, the detail's still there, but then we did it again. Here it is. And we put it on the card. And can you see the difference between this one and this one? Look how different they are. This one, the detail is much more outstanding, and that was simply after we massaged the pad. That's the difference. So if your new ink pads are not giving you the detail, or if they're too inky, give them a massage, all right? I think that looks much, much better here than it does here. I can actually see the center of my flowers, whereas here I really can't. And then stamped off again. It's such a similar color. So that's why I'm sort of surprised that they bought Misty Moonlight back. But it was a really popular color. A lot of people really loved it. And it's going to be in our neutrals range. So why did I use a spoon? Because the ink pads, when you first get your ink pads, they're so inky. I'm going to find another one. So this is my copper clay. They're so inky that when you ink them up, you lose all your detail, all right? Because they're too juicy. But then once you massage with the spoon, you get a much better result. And I'm just going to clean my spoon with a baby wipe. I hope this is useful information. Beautiful. Sorry. Can you say that again, Cheryl? It says a beautiful car. You just card. I'm assuming you're talking about card. That's the card I made on last night's live video. So you can even see the difference in the color when you do. I don't know if you can see it here. Can you see that the color where I've massaged is coming through? Whereas here it looks a lot darker because there's too much saturation of ink. Can you see the difference? So once you've massaged your ink into the pad, it redistributes the ink so that it doesn't sit so heavily on the stamps when you stamp. And it's pretty important when you first have really, really inky pads, because if you're not getting the results that you like, this is what you need to do. And that's why I always keep a spoon on my desk. So I'm going to do this again, and hopefully you can see the difference. Can you see the difference? I'm going to close up a couple of these ink pads because I'm going to end up in a mess if I don't. That's okay. You're very welcome. That's what I'm here for, to show you guys things you might not have seen before. I know some of you have seen this, but I'm going to bring this up. Okay, can you see the difference between those two stamps? Look how much detail's in the one I stamped second. This one has more detail than this one. This one's a bit blobby because that was used with an ink pad that had not been massaged. All right, so Jenny, yeah, I know. I forgot that too. Never mind. Yes, yep, you could also do it with a take some ink off the surface with something else, like a credit card, for example. But I just find having a spoon works really, really well. It is good to learn lots of new and old ways, and all of us forget sometimes, Kathleen. I'm just putting Kathleen's comment up there. And you know what? That's so true. We all do forget stuff, and we all, don't. There's so many things that every time I watch a video from somebody, particularly if it's someone new, I learn new things. It's so cool. Yes, distinctive stamps are super, super important. Okay, so if you have stamps that are, does everyone know what I mean by a distinctive stamp? Let me show you. We have a lot of distinctive stamps in our catalogs. This is something that Stampin' Up! Has worked with a lot in the last few years. So let me find you one. Okay, this Hydrangea Haven, which is being retired. Whoops, let me get rid of Kathleen's comment. Just going to hide that. This one here is called Hydrangea Haven, and it's being discontinued, marked down in Australia here by 60%. Such a good deal. There's so many stamps marked down up to 60%. It's amazing. And the last day for these orders, the last day for these things that are retiring is tomorrow. Today is the 29th, the 30th. Oh, sorry, beg your pardon, Monday the 1st, okay? Monday the 1st is the last day that you can get any of these things. So hop to it. If there's something that you really love in here, you don't want to wait. Nearly every single time we have a retirement come through, the day after everything's been finished up, I get a message from someone saying, oh, can you still get such and such a stamp? I'm like, no, you can't. Once it's gone, it's gone. So some things have already sold out, but it's good to know. Yeah. So this one here is distinctive, and it has this little thing down the bottom. Can you see that says distinctive? And the I and K is in italics. No, not italics, it's bold. But anyway, the whole idea is that when you stamp some of these stamps, they actually give you light and dark transfer of ink, which is really impressive. It's the way the stamps are made. These ones are photopolymer. They can do it with photopolymer. I think it's even more striking with the rubber stamps. I think they give it that just a little bit more detail. But yeah, it's one of those things that I think I hadn't seen until a few years ago. We've had so many of them, but it's fantastic for very detailed stamps. I'm looking for more distinctive ones. This one's a distinctive one with the bear and the wolf and the owl. Those are distinctive. And see, you can see that it's got light and dark. My much loved Happier Than Happy, that one's distinctive. This one here, that's a distinctive stamp as well. Okay, so really, really gorgeous way to stamp. Just with a stamp, you can get all this beautiful light and dark shading, and it's gorgeous. I agree. My education is ongoing as well. Yep, I'm always learning new things. Exactly right. Okay, so I hope that I've given you some good information today. We've talked about a lot of different things. Here are my card projects from the alternate designs. So let me put them out. Actually, I'll put out the ones that I actually made in the videos. Actually, I think there's that one and this one. So they turned out really, really nice. I hope you really love them too. And then I've also got this one that we've just made today. How did it go? Did anyone have a go? Cherie, how did you go? Did you get your card finished? Did you like the result? Anybody else give this wood grain embossing folder technique a go? I'm really keen to hear how they went. Quite often in my VIP group, people will, or in our team group, people will post pictures of what they created in these sessions, and it's always fun to see what people came up with because everyone's got a slightly different take on it. So it's cool. I agree. Rubber stamps definitely have better detail. That's absolutely true. Even though I like photopolymer, but yeah, rubber still have my heart because I love the detail that they have. Okay, I think we did good today. I hope you liked those, and I hope that you enjoyed making the card together. Does anyone have any questions? I have a couple of reminders for you before we go. First of all, the tutorials should be up and running tomorrow. They'll be on my blog, and you'll be able to click there on the blog and pay by PayPal if you wish to purchase them. If you're in my team or if you ordered with me last month, you're going to get them automatically. So please do not buy them again. The next craft along is going to be made with the Fresh as a Daisy suite of products from our brand new catalogue that comes out on Tuesday. Oh, good, Julie. I'm glad to hear you'll be trying it. That's awesome. And then on the 13th of May, that's the CraftAlong day. So it's only 2 weeks from today. So they're squashed a little bit close together instead of being the normal 4 weeks apart, only because I'm going to be away at the end of the month in May. And if you do wish to receive a supply pack for that particular CraftAlong, the month's not over. If you order by tomorrow, the 30th of April, and you order over $60 worth, you will be in the running, well, not in the running, you will receive a supply pack to make the Fresh as a Daisy card with me at my CraftAlong next month. So how do we do? Are there any questions or anything before I head off? And does everyone know I go live on Friday and Sunday night? So if you're around tomorrow night, I will be live right here at 7:30 p.m. Sydney time tomorrow evening, the 30th of April. Oh, Judy, thank you very much. Oh, Sunny, that's great. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you enjoyed them. If anyone has any questions, I'm here for another minute or so. So please, now is a great time to ask. I'm going to, it's 2:55 and I did tell you we'd be trying to keep it to under an hour. So we're right on time. We're just winding up, just finishing. Who's joining me tomorrow night? Who's joining me Sunday night? And does anyone have any other questions about anything at all? If you have received a new catalogue, you can order from it on the 2nd. But if you're looking at the current catalogue, you'll need to wind up any retiring items by Monday the 1st. Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you. you, Judy. I know. Well, you're in the team, so you're going to receive one anyway. No problem. Sorry, I don't know what to call you, M. Wyman, but I don't know what your first name is. So I don't know what to call you. You'll be watching Sunday, Sally? That's great. Great to hear. Oh, 1 a.m. That's too, you must be exhausted. I hope you can get to bed. Almost 1 a.m. Or can you not sleep maybe? Yes, tomorrow I'm on here at 7:30 p.m. So it's a lot later because it's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon right now. But for those who like to watch me on a Sunday night, it's 7:30 p.m. Sydney time. How do you get on the mailing list? You go to the blog. I'll put it up again, the banner that's about to pop up right now. You go there to lhiggins.blogspot.com and there is a sign-up form for the newsletters up near the top on the right-hand side. If you're on a computer, it is easier to see rather than being on a mobile phone. But if you're on a computer, you'll see that there, and you can just pop your name and your email address in and you'll be added to the email list. And the next email newsletter will be out on Monday. So if you do that now or tomorrow, then you'll be able to receive a newsletter, the next one I send. I hope that's helpful. Any other questions before we go? Well, I'm going to take that as I'm going to, I hope that I haven't kept you awake, Kathleen. And yeah, I hope that you do sleep well the rest of the night, and that maybe you've enjoyed some crafty time, and that's just what you needed to get back to sleep. Okay, thank you everyone. Have a fantastic afternoon and a really, really great weekend ahead. I hope that I'm going to switch back over to myself for a second. Here we go. There I am. I'm going to take my banner down. And I wanted to say thank you so much for watching and for being part of our fun afternoon today. Have a fantastic evening for your Saturday, and we'll see you very soon. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. I think I've messed it up. Sorry.